So the chair is very useful, especially as I say with people with, can you just go widescreen? Yeah. Especially with people that have any impairments, or you might have hip problems, knee problems. There's a billion different things people can have that's not part of their physical body. So quite often you can do exercise, and you can do these exercises. You know, the exercise to do your legs, you can do the foot shaking, you can do the circles. And it's a lot easier, of course, if someone got a chair to do that and be okay with that, because it's going to help the balance anyway. But sometimes people just can't do it. Maybe one leg, they can't even, of course, swap sides and do it the other way. But it's just an easy thing to do, and to do that. So there are quite a few exercises when we're standing on one leg. When we do one-legged exercises, it's quite good to, if they have to, because it's a good thing to get people to stand on one leg, even if their balance is not good. Because if you're standing on one leg, whatever exercise you're doing, whether you're doing these exercises, which one I'm going to think of, this exercise like this, yeah, and you're holding posture like that. I'm not doing that, but I'm doing that, just one posture, one leg, because I'm standing on one leg. And getting people to stand on one leg is a good thing, because it concentrates all the energy into one leg. So instead of having the energy coming up both legs at the same time, I'm going to double up on one. So now I've got all of it coming up just one leg. So then it's got double the coming up the kidney, double the spleen, double the liver coming up the same meridian, and it crosses over to the other meridian, of course. So one-legged standing is really important, and it's difficult for people to do that. So having a chair is just such an easy way of doing that, allowing them to get the idea of what it's like to stand with a chair to do the exercises. Yeah. Of course, when we're sitting down, we sit down. Most of the exercises, it's just about the whole set of the Shu Ba Shu. Yeah, I can see it. The whole set of the Shu Ba Shu you can do sitting down. So you can do exercises. If we did wave hands over the lake, you can do this exercise quite simply sitting down. Yeah, breathing in, breathing out. Big thing when the people are sitting down, as long as they can, is of course keep your back straight. Tuck your bum underneath, and get them to tuck their pelvis forward. Get your chin back, and then you can do it sitting down. Yep. You can even do brace them out of rocking forward into your feet, rocking backwards to your feet, so you can rock forwards and backwards. You can do these exercises. You can do, I can go through the whole lot, but I won't go through all of them, but we can do painting rainbow in the sky. And all you do is you change weight on your seat. So I'm moving from side to side on the chair. And so I'm moving on to one bum muscle, and then I'm working on to the other one. So you're rocking forward from one side of your body to the other, from bum to bum, as I do these exercises. Yeah. So there's that part. You can do the turning around one. This is from the Bhagwan Gin. You can do the turning around one. We did this the other day. You can do this one to hitting from the spine. Now you can do it two different ways. You can do it locking the hips and just move the top part of your body. You can do turn and gaze with the moon. And you can do it the two different ways. Remember, one was with having your hips locked, and you just turn the top part of your body. Yep. Or the other one is where you free up your hips, and your hips can move as well, and you'll see your knees moving as well when they do that, and the whole body's moving. You can feel the twist on your knees. Coming down, feel the twist on your knees. Sitting up, you can do that. Or, as I say, you just isolate the spine. So all of these things are doable when you're in the sitting position. But some of these ones, of course, you can lie down. I'm not going to do that, but you can lie down, and you can do the same thing, lifting your arms up, lifting your arms down. Now, if you come to a live class, I'll show you that exercise where you lie down and breathe in and breathe out. I might do it in one of the classes, actually. I'll remind myself to do the lying down exercise. Qigong, this is a very, very cool exercise you can do on your back. Yeah, and it's like wave hands, and you're lifting your arms up and then bringing them back down again, lying down. I'll do it for you, because there's a couple of other extra pieces to that, and I'll remember that, because I haven't never taught that. I'll lie down here one day and I'll show you the exercise. Anyway, so that's the sitting ones. So of course, see, Sam didn't know I was going to stand up then. I'll go back and put that other side. There you go. You got my head cut off. That's better. So that's the idea of sitting down. As I say, some of them you can do lying down. You can bring your arms out to the side and do that one. So there's lots of modifications you can do to make it easy for people. And it's still, the energy is still going to move through the body. All it is, you're losing the ability. Oh, excuse me. You're losing the ability to have the structural conditioning going on for your legs. Because when you stand on your legs and you've got your knees slightly bent, of course, you're engaging all your muscles. But when you sit down, of course, you don't do that, because they're rested, they're just sitting. then you don't have that same structure of the legs. But as soon as you stand up, everything's still the same, except now I'm engaged the muscles, and now the muscles are working, and the muscles are relaxed. We're trying to relax muscles, but they're still engaged to hold the structure of us standing. But you still have to hold a structure while you're sitting by having your back nice and straight, so you're still learning about posture as well. But all of it goes around, and you can, as I say, you can have a class doing both, and you can go around your class and have some people standing, some people sitting, and it's okay. So what I want to talk about a little bit more about was the exercise themselves and the adjustment of the exercise. I'm going to pick out a more difficult exercise so that you can see the adjustments you can make. So we're going to do floating silk hands. That's the exercise we'll do. So remember how this normally structures the hand come up, both hands. And I'm going to mirror you, so I'm going to turn your right palm up, and it's going to come down, and you turn. Comes up the back, keep the elbow down, come around to the front, and as the hand goes across that hand, it slides over and it slides across the top of the hand. I'm going to do this from the side as well, so it comes to the other side. Elbow stays down, comes back to the front, palm turns over, goes across the top. Now, as we do it, the hip turns, and that turning of the hip brings the hand back, and the turning of the hip back to the front brings the arm around, the hands turn over and it slides over. The hip turns, brings it back, breathing in, and the hip turning back to the front. So it's not an arm exercise, it's the hips are doing this. Move the hip back, breathing in, moving the hip backwards. Now, when we move our hips, remember we retreat our pelvis. So as we're going back, we're pulling the hip backwards, we're not pushing the other hip forward, yeah? So if I go back, the hip goes back. I pull this one back, goes back, and the hand comes up. And then I'm going to pull the other hip back. I'm going to pull that hip back. This one's going to go back to bring the body forward, yeah? So it's the opposite side, yeah? Goes back, opposite goes back. So you're always retreating your pelvis, retreat the hip back, retreat the other hip back. Good? So that's how it's normally done, yeah? Nice and clean. Functional. So I'm going to do it from the side so you can see my arms. So when we go through, we do rotate. I pull the hip back, the arm comes up. Then I pull the opposite hip back, I pull that hip back, and it comes forward. Yeah, and it comes across the hands. I want to show you the hands. Pull a hip back, pull the opposite hip. And as the hand goes towards the other hand, then you turn the hand over at the last minute and it slides across the top, and you can feel it. They don't touch. It slides across, and you can feel the energy between the two hands. And it goes out through the fingertips. Feel it goes out, turn, comes up. Big thing, keep your elbow down at the back. Don't bring your elbow up, keep your elbow down. Come around to the front. Turn the hand over and slide it across the hand. And so there's a timing that happens with this to get it smooth. Keep the elbow down. Rotate, comes back to the front. Slide it across the hand. The hand comes down. Hand comes up. Elbow down. Comes forward. Slides the hand down. Back. Slide the hand down. Good. So we just take one hand. We'll do this one hand this way. So what you're doing is, as you're moving your hip, you're moving that hip, all you're doing is you turn your hand and it's coming down. The palm comes to the palms facing towards the front. Elbow stays down. Comes back round to the front. Goes forward. Now if we look at this hand, as I turn the hip, that hand turns as I turn the hip. So there's a movement that's happening that's coordinated with that. I'll go back to the front so you can see that comes up, back to the front, and then it goes forward from the heart. So I'll show you that from the front. So when the hand comes up, I'll just use the one hand. As I move my hips, as soon as I start moving my hip, I'm retreating this hip. As soon as I start, that's what moves the arm. The arm moves, exactly the, I'll just exaggerate that so you can see it. Arm moves, hip moves. But the arm's following what the hip does. The hip goes first, and the arm turns. It's not an arm movement, then the hip goes. Yep, I'll do that so you can see that. It's not an arm movement first, and then the hip goes. It's a hip goes first, and then the arm goes. So everything's coming from the pelvis, from your hips, it's coming from your physical center, of course, coming from your lower down to your end. So as soon as your hip moves, the hands turn, and the hip rotates the elbow over. It rotates the arm, and it comes down. comes back up, elbow down, keep the elbow down, come around the front, and then forward. And it goes down. Other hand, same thing. If the hip moves and it brings the hand, so there's the coordination of that going backwards and that going at the same time goes back. I'm going to exaggerate that so you can see that. It's almost like your hips dragging your arm back. Your hip moves and it pulls your arm back. And it goes back and down, up. And then I rotate back by pulling this hip back, rotates back to the front. And it comes forward. Now, somebody was asking me the other day about the waggle you get with that, when there is a waggle. And it's not to see, you don't see it too much, but to try not to do that. So as the arms come forward, I use the right hand, it comes back. Hip moves, the arm moves, comes up. And then as it comes forward, as the hip goes back and the arm comes forward, yeah, there's a little wave as it rights itself. So remember when we move our hips, we've talked a lot about this, about stretching the ligaments. As we turn and we load our ligaments and tendons up and all the fascia, we're stretching them, and so that they creates all the elasticity in them. And so they're actually locked like a rubber band. You turned around, and all the rubber band wants to do is just unwind itself. It wants to come back by itself. So all you're doing is loading it up and relax, and it comes back by itself. Yeah, and we've talked a lot about that. So this is the same thing, but what happens when you come back, there's a wobble when you get back. And be okay with that if you would have already noticed it anyway. As it comes back, if I let it go from here, I let my hips go, it comes back, and then there's a sort of stop. So I'll do it without using the arm so you can see what I mean. So we go around, it comes back and goes like this, and it wobbles from side to side till it stops. Yeah, go the other way. I'll go this way. And it comes around and does this. And that wobble as it rights itself and goes back, it just doesn't, you don't come back and just slam the brakes on, come back and go stop. Even if you do that, it still goes wobble. They come right back and just stop in the center. It's really hard to do that. You're going to get this movement inside it, and you just let that movement be naturally what it does. It swings slightly by itself. Comes round, stops, and you see that slowly wobble from side to side until it rests. So that energy is an energy movement in the pendulum. It's like the pendulum's wobbling from side to side inside our body, which we want that because it's an energy washing from the inside to the outside. It's important we have that. But what you don't want to do is bring that at the outside. So you have, you don't want to do this. Come like this. You don't want to have all outside. You want to have that movement inside. So the outside, you don't see a lot of it. So if we're doing the arm movement comes up and we let it go, comes around. Yeah. Now you're going to get two waves. As it comes around, it does this little wobble thing. So if I exaggerate that, if I do it so you can see it, more obvious, it comes around, comes up, loaded up, and it does this. Yep. So the second wave, when it goes across and comes back and then goes across, the second wave is when the hand goes forward. So you're using the wave of the energy righting itself to drive the hand forward on the second wave. But you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing this and making this really super obvious. Like that. You don't want to do that. You want to come down. You want to feel the release, let the relax go, comes around, and you feel it happen on the inside. And it comes around, and you feel the wobble goes backwards and forward in the second way. Your hand comes forward. And that's a normal way to do the exercise. That's right. And what you don't want to do is get people doing that. You want to keep that energetic movement on the inside. So the wobbles as small as you possibly can get and keep the energy in the inside. Comes around. And you're going to feel that. You'll feel it coming around. Relax, comes around, relax. And then push with the second wave. It's like the second wave goes across and back, and then you push again when the wave goes forward again. And that's how you do the exercise in its purity. So we can modify this exercise. So there's lots of ways. And there's an exercise for the people who do the monastery class. I think all three of you do. There's, of course, is the other one, which starts with the hands this way. But there's also a pendulum going either way when we do this exercise, which is different. It's a modification of this. Well, I'm not sure which one's the modification. This is a very old exercise doing it this way. And I'm not sure the Shuba Shu has shut it down because it's shut the pendulum off, and it just does it double weighted. So it's quite different with the hand down. With the other one, slightly different. So the idea of this exercise, and of course it's even more obvious when you do the monastery exercise when it comes around. There's this double bounce that happens, and it's try not to do that. So we modify the exercise to take it into a different place, and that is by changing the structure of the exercise. We're going to go one way, and then going to go the other. So if we have both hands up, now we can do it smaller. We can do it smaller so it's more precise and more internal. So if we have the hands that way, we can turn the hands. So remember, the hip's still moving. The hip moves, brings the hand down, and it's a small movement. The hand still goes right to the bottom, comes up, comes around to your heart, and it's a small movement. So you're doing exactly the same exercise, but you're doing it smaller. And you feel it's like it's compressed. So instead of having a big ball, it's a small ball. You can feel the smallness inside it, but it's still got a lot of power, but it's just done smaller. You can feel this here. You have this compression going through, and it's just this little tiny piece that comes out. And it comes up. And even from here, it still feels compressed. It comes around, and doing that, it comes forward. So it comes up. Tiny, and you feel the power in that. It comes forward, it's nice and small, and it feels like really short. It's just a little small movement. Yep. So this is not usually the one that's difficult to do. Now, normally people will do this. If I teach somebody, you're always going to get somebody in class doing it like this to start off with. This is going to be the natural way of doing that. There was a reason for that, why they do it so small. And you just feel it so you can feel the difference between the way you're doing it now and the way you normally do it. It's this small movement, tiny movement. It's small, it's very internal. And you can feel the power, but your energy feels like it's compressed. You feel like your energy is compressed inside your body. And it comes out and it comes around and comes back like that. Yep. Good. And you have that feeling. Now that's not incorrect at all. That's not incorrect at all. It's just a way of doing it. So we go to that's the yin side. We'll go to the yang side now, and we do it the other way. And that's where it's really big. So we go from there. And the hand come down. It's a big movement. And do this like you normally do this exercise, but just make it really big. And you'll know how you normally do it, so just make it bigger than normal. Mark, when you're doing Tai Chi, I think Steph B2, I think you do it as well. You do Tai Chi as well. And so when you come in, it's when you're doing a repulsor monkey. The repulsor monkey? Yes, repulsor monkey is this one. In Tai Chi, it's usually done really big. It's done with bigger. When you come back, when you're stepping back, the hands come right out like that. And then you step back as you come forward to do the exercise, yeah? Depending on whether you're doing the yang style or the wu style or the chen style, this idea of movement happens. And we have this big idea of moving through. So it's done differently in Tai Chi, because it's a martial piece. But normally with Qigong, of course, we do it in this relatively small size, where we're keeping this place where it's nice and comfortable, nice and smooth. Now we know that we can do one where we can do a small one. We can do it smaller, it feels more powerful that way, more compressed and more powerful. And then we can do a big one. Yep. And you can feel that the expression of the size, I feel like it opens right up. I'm turning to the side so you can see how big this is. It comes around, the elbow's still down, comes forward, big comes right to the back. Elbow down, comes forward. Big exercise. Big hip movements. Big movements of the hips coming back round. Big movement. Big movement. Now, none of those three are wrong. They're just different. And quite often when I teach people, they'll be more smaller than they need to be. So most of the time it's more about expansion. Most of the time people are too small. Not in size, but just the way they do exercise, they'll do it really small. Occasionally you'll get somebody do it really too big. You do get the too big people, and you get the too small people. And so part of it is to take it into a place where there's a comfortableness inside it, where you're not being too small and you're not being too big, and you're just in this like the middle path, if you want to use the yin-yang theory. One's completely yang, one's yin. and middle class. So you can have the ability to do both of them if you want to. You can do big ones. You can do big ones. Or you can do small ones. And they're all correct. But you have the ability, you have a choice what you do with it. So instead of knowing there's only just one way, now there's a couple of different ways you can do it. And when you go back to the one you normally do, you'll find the one you normally do really comfortable because it's a space that you got used to. But know that it can be really big, it can be really small. But we want the place where it's the easiest possible way for yourself. It feels really comfortable and it's your size. Nobody else's size. It's your perfect size for you. Yeah. And this is the idea of this exercise. The perfect size. Yeah. Perfect size. Yep. And so that idea of that is the comfortableness inside that place where your body's under no stress at all. It's not feeling it's compressed and doing the small one. It's not compressed and feels that energy compacted, and you're not feeling that. You're not feeling that it's way open and you've got this floaty thing where the whole body's floating, which is nothing wrong with it, but it's not that one either. You've got this one where it's just, and I use the term neutral, but I don't like that word. It's in a place with ease. There's ease in this place where it's really, really simple and the body just floats by itself without the too much expansion, without the too much contraction. Yep. And that is, and what yours looks like and what everybody else's in the class looks like, everybody's is different. That place of ease for you will be different to other people. There are some people that this bigger one is actually more easy for them to do than the small one. And there's people that find the small one, the compact one's different. So, but as I say, normally in a class, when you're teaching, it'll be the opposite. It'll be me changing people from being too small. But in saying that, there's always some people being too big, and to expand people or to bring people back into a more comfortable place. It's the same thing we did the other day about the ball, holding your ball, about how big your ball is. Was this big or was that ball? And we're trying to find a ball that is comfortable for you. And as you grow, it grows, of course. But to start off with, you don't have a huge big ball, you have a tiny ball. Well, not that small. You have a ball, whatever your ball is. But this isn't way too small either. If I had a ball this big, it look funny. Yeah, and also this ego would be a lot involved if I had one that big. So there's a piece of it that's just where it's comfortable, where it sits, and right for me. But it's right for you too. It's not. There's no wrong or right. It's right for you, and your ball is right. And what I do around quite often in a live class is I go around and adjust everybody's ball, so they get to feel how big they are. Because most people are not quite sure energetically how big they are. So I create the size for them so they can actually feel themselves in a really interesting way. But I create the ball and I say, yeah, that's about you. And they go, oh, okay. And sometimes they start off with too small. I'm giving them a bigger ball. And as I say, sometimes people have ball too big and I can bring it back to a place where they sit. None of it right, just different. I want to add another piece to that. So we've got the size range of the size of the exercise. We've got the variations that you can do it sitting down, lying down, do those. Now we're going to change it and we're going to do the speed of the exercise. Now, normally we do the speed of the exercise by a breath. Yep. Where we do the exercise and you breathe in and you breathe out. Yep. And the exercise is dictated by what you perceive your long breath. Can you just pause by? I'm just going to quickly. So what you do is normally we have the idea of that it's done by our breath pattern as we breathe in and we breathe out. And depending on how fast your breath is, it dictates how fast your exercise is. Now, there's no right or wrong with this either. So because everybody's lungs are different and everybody's breath pattern is different. So in a class, we got everybody to do the exercise. And if I say to everybody, okay, I want you to take long, slow, quiet breaths in, long, slow, quiet breaths out. Yep. Everybody in the class is still doing it differently because even their slow breath is different to everybody else's breath. So it's back to you again, what slow is for you and what fast is for you. But you can do it fast. I'll do it so you can hear. Normally, of course, you don't breathe out your mouth. I'm just doing it so you can hear it. And you can do it faster. And all these are correct. But remember, normally breathe out through your nose, in and out through your nose, but I just did the mouth breath so you could hear it. So then, of course, there's the other version, of course, which is the really long, slow version. This is the, I've talked about this before. If Doug from Scotland does this exercise, there was a guy I had in class, and he had this extraordinarily long breath. My God, he used to do the exercise. So, and I've talked about this before. He used to go to about this speed. I go, oh, God. And there's only one way you can have a pair of lungs like that. Either there's a few ways you can do. You can do free diving or create a lung capacity like that, or you're playing some musical instrument, woodwind, a breath instrument. You're playing a flute, you're playing a cello, a clarinet or something. And I said to him, and he was doing the exercise really super slow, and it was more like this when he was going like this. And I said, "Is that your one in breath?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh my God!" He said. So I asked him what instrument. He played bagpipes, and so they have this ability to hold big, long breaths. And exercise was super slow, which was perfect for him because he trained himself. We all don't need to do that, but you can increase the speed. So now we're going to long breath, and then you slow your breath down even more. And of course, you're going to go really, really slow. Key to this exercise, of course, this particular exercise, of course, you want to have your breath, the in-breath, the out-breath, the same duration. But you could be counting to 10 on the in-breath. If you wanted to count, you could count to 10 on the in-breath. And then 10 on the out-breath. And that's not wrong either. It's just a different. Knowing that the longer you have breath inside your lungs, the more oxygen you're going to absorb. Yeah, the longer the air is in your lungs, the more the oxygen goes into the bronchioles, into the blood vessels, and streams through your body. So the shorter breath, you still get oxygen, but it comes in a different way because that bronchiole is opening and closing quickly. This other one, they stay open, and so you suck a lot of power in. And there's a relaxation with that too. All of them are correct. They're just different ways of doing it. So there's a place where you can do, and people that do breath work do fast breathing. Whether you've done breath work or not, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just say the people that do that. And so there's a piece of that when the long, slow breath is right as well. So that long breath is how to get your breath long. Because somebody asked me this the other day as well. So if you just take a long, slow breath in, just do this with me. Take a long breath in. And then a long, slow breath out. Depending on your breath. Yep, long, slow breath in. And you train yourself to do this. And you're just letting a little bit of air in at a time. Little bit of air in, little bit of air as it comes in. And then long, slow breath out. Now, one of the easiest ways to understand what this slow in breath and slow out breath is by chanting, to understand what it's like. So when you chant, the breath goes out really slowly because you're trying to create the maximum amount of sound or the minimum amount of effort. Yep. So we take a breath in, and same with the in breath. So you're breathing slowly as you breathe in. You feel the tummy expanding, and then the chest expand, and you can expand a lot. And the out breath is and you have all of that because of the sound. You're just creating a slight sound. So that's breath. But most people, if I did that, that's a very slow exercise. But you can breathe like that, and you train yourself to breathe that slowly, so you still have the out breath the same speed. And what that does is teach you with the sound. It teaches you how slow you can be. Because what happens normally is when you relax your lungs, you breathe in or out really quickly. Anyway, so what I was saying was about the speed. So the way to train your voice to go really slowly is to have the ability, and the sound is a really good way of doing it, because you can make notes really sound. Um's a really popular one, of course, because people do a lot of chanting them. And you're trying to let as little sound go to make the sound with very little breath. So if you learn how to do that, then all you have to do is the same breath without the sound. And so now all of a sudden when you're letting go, you could imagine that sound and just how slow that breath's going out. And then it's going to slow the exercise down along. But the good part about that is it's about also releasing all the carbon dioxide out of the body. But it's what's happening with all the accumulation of the oxygen as you're breathing in really slowly. You've got a lot of oxygen in your lungs a long time, so it's absorbing more and more oxygen. That's why you get more energy doing Qigong, because it slows your breathing down, so you breathe longer, so you get more oxygen. But you're also getting rid of the carbon dioxide out of the body as well with the long out breath as well. So it works both ways. So there you are. So that's the idea of the interchange of the exercise, and this is just one exercise we've done today, but all these different variations of it. I didn't do it sitting down, but of course you can do it sitting down as well. You can do this exercise sitting down. But there's the fast, the slow, the different sizes, all of these things are all part of it. So when we're teaching, you're trying to find for a person to be able to do it where in the most relaxed for them. This is not relaxed. This is not relaxed. This is not relaxed. That's not relaxed. So you're trying to help people to relax wherever their relax is, because everybody's slightly different for them because of the lung capacity and the body shape and everything else. And so as a teacher, we're always trying to find the perfect position for each person, because nobody's going to do it the same. Or in theory, they shouldn't, but it'll be slightly different because the person's different, the body. Anyway, have a beautiful week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Gong. I'm not sure if I bowed at the start of the class. There you go, we bow at the end of the class. Be good, everybody. Have a beautiful class and a beautiful day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.